Yo, what's going on, you guys? Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. So today's video, I do want to go ahead and share a little bit of advice that really helped me in my life when I was young. And I often feel like the difference between our lives today and our lives in the future is the advice that we get, the information, the help that we get that help us change. So really today's video, man, it's covering four pillars of life that really shaped my reality and helped me stay disciplined, and more so, I guess you can say, intentional with where I'm going with life. And that's one thing that I really do believe in, being intentional with your life, because a lot of times when you're young, you're going to run across multiple distractions, multiple things that take away your time. You got to go to a job, you got to go to your family, you got to go, to your sports, you got to go to, socialize. And don't get me wrong, everyone invests their time differently. Don't want to create the wrong interpretation here, but oftentimes we understand a little bit more of the reward behind investing time into ourselves, to where investing time other places sometimes have less of a return. So what I want to highlight here is the 4 pillars, right, that I think that every young individual in their 20s should be focusing on to help create more stability, much more, abundance, and just more positivity in your life. So the first pillar that I really want to talk about, for one, I think is the most essential, is your mindset. Without a mindset, you will find you will find overcoming obstacles and diversity in your life very challenging. But with the mindset, you can oftentimes rewire your brain to think about things a little bit differently. So despite them sucking, you have at least a sense of hope that they could become better in the long term to help you persevere, rather than just giving up in the short term and assuming that it's just going to continue like this for the long term. So protect your mindset, protect your mental health, protect your ability to remain optimistic and remain opportunistic. These are going to be able to help you believe in opportunities, help you be open-minded to new ones, and not necessarily get too caught up in the same ones that everyone else is following. And in today's, day and age, there's so many new opportunities that are often emerging that can create significant amount of returns, but the people that we know, the people in our families, aren't doing. So adapt to those new ones, stay open-minded and participate in them. Get out there while you're young. Try a little bit of everything so you build up experience of what it is you like, what it is you don't like, and what it is helps provide for you and what doesn't. And it's going to help you get yourself out there and build up just more of a knowledge for yourself to say, damn, things are really different than what it is I was told, and I can do this and do that, And it just goes in hand with business too. Having that mindset, that optimism in business and sales and any journey that you want to create something financially for yourself, it's going to help you a lot to have that belief in yourself, the optimism, that positive mindset to help you overcome a lot of the obstacles and challenges and just the emotions, the emotions that come with building up your own independent life. A lot of times this journey in entrepreneurship or business, it's very lonely. You have to be there for yourself. You have to know how to take care of your mind state, take care of your environment, know how to position yourselves in different environments to think differently and then eventually end up doing differently. So that's the first pillar, the mindset. The second pillar that I believe is second most fundamental is going to be your income streams and your business. In your 20s, man, oftentimes, we're starting our first jobs, we're starting to save our money, begin to maybe hopefully invest in some form of a 401k, a Roth IRA. But really, sometimes some of those jobs, we really have to ask ourselves, do you see yourself doing this in the next 10, maybe 7 years? And if that answer sometimes is no for a lot of us while we're young, it's very good for you to take control of your ability to create income for yourself and think about a business. Think about other streams of income. I myself watched my stepdad work multiple years for a company, and one bad year, the company laid him off. He lost a job that he dedicated so much time to, and just like that, his life was turned upside down, and he did not have that ability to create income for himself through his own demand, his own business, his own necessarily side gig, right? And while you're young, I've heard this countless, and you can also maybe hear it across other people's lives, that laying off, getting fired, losing a job, running into some sort of illness, oftentimes can cost us a job, man. So building up different income streams, maybe so a business, it's where you want to start creating and pushing yourself in your 20s to make that progress, to more independentize your dependency on income. You don't want to depend on your job for too long. You want to use them while you're young, but approaching your late 20s, early 30s, you want to start having your own little side gigs to feel a little bit more reassured in your stability for your income, especially approaching your 40s and 50s, to have a little bit more longevity, right? Because as you get older, you grow more responsibilities and you also grow more dependent. If you grow more dependent on a job, it's going to be much more challenging later to not become dependent and start, trying different business models, succeeding, failing on some attempts, and getting back up. So working on your business, getting your experience in marketing, getting your experience in social media, getting your experience in communicating, getting your experience in sales, getting your experience in different environments is where you want to start surrounding yourself with, building up your network, communicating with people, connecting with people. Strangers in the world of business are your friends. In the world of employment, in the world of friendship, it's not the same, but in business, every stranger has a benefit no matter what. And that's what I want you guys to start implementing and thinking about while you're in your 20s, because you're just so young and we have so much ahead of us to be able to develop and grow into better. Now, the third most important, piece of the life puzzle that I think is very important is your relationships. If you walk with the fools, you will remain a fool. Those who walk with the wise will be wise. And this is a lesson that oftentimes was very hard to overcome, because growing up, you have your friends that, hey, you went to high school with, had great relationships, had a lot in common with, and, we built a lot of loyalty, a lot of friendship, but we didn't align with our goals. We wanted more out of life. Others maybe didn't want to progress. Maybe others got comfortable and we had to leave them behind. And that's life, man. That's what it takes out here to take that next step and take yourself seriously. So sometimes, growing into new relationships or picking new relationships that are beneficial, that are there to help you, think differently, expose yourself to differently, hang around people that are in the pursuit of making, $20,000, $30,000 months when you're only making $2,000 to $3,000. The person that's in the pursuit of $20,000 to $30,000 months probably has a role model that's in the pursuit of $100,000, $150,000 months, six-figure months. And that's the journey. I want you guys to know that that's real. There is people out there in sales, out there in business that are creating six-figure months, $20,000, $30,000 months. I myself, back in April, had both March and April generate over $20,000 in revenue through my business. And the people that I grew up with before weren't doing that. But my role models, they're doing $50,000 a month, $60,000 a month. So I look up to them. And that's important, having these influences, these inspirations in your life, because sometimes when you're all alone, it's difficult to sometimes see that picture for yourself, So having these close relationships, these people to call up and inspire you, can get you back on track to hitting those targets and progressing and evolving, and just developing yourself as an individual. And, more importantly, aside from the friendships and the business relationships and your networking, your relationships, those are very big too. The partner that you pick in life, I myself have had multiple partners. I've had partners that have influenced me to, be a little bit more comfortable. I've had partners that challenge me, and I myself have noticed that the partners that challenge me to be better have always had a bigger return in my life. And that's what I like. When your partner is essentially putting you on a pedestal sometimes, or thinking very comfortable, very limited, it's going to impact your psychology and what you think is possible as well. So sometimes you guys do got to align on both the abundance and in that pursuit of creating more. So that's your relationships. And the fourth final pillar that I think is very, very important for any young man, any young individual, is your health. Back in 2024, 2025, that real stretch right in the middle, October, I herniated my L5S1 disc, and it created hell for me. I couldn't walk, I couldn't bend over, I couldn't work out. And it was until then that I became health conscious, that I took my health serious, that I wanted to eat healthy, that I was at the mercy to just get my health back, that I was willing to do anything. And unfortunately, and as humans, that's how we all learn. We don't learn how to appreciate something until it's gone, until it's affected. And when I went through that, I remember feeling how ungrateful I felt for my health, how ungrateful I felt for the ability to walk, how ungrateful I felt for the ability to take care of myself. And it's going to be a reminder that's going to happen to a lot of us. And I hope that my story, helps you guys become a little bit more conscious of it. I'm not telling you guys go become professional bodybuilders, go become, Ironman athletes. No, you guys can start by incorporating more walks into your life, incorporating maybe reading a book as well, training your mental, maybe eating a little bit more healthier, not picking up a salad, but hey, maybe avoiding In-N-Out, instead just cooking yourself some, rice and some chicken, some beef and some rice, some potatoes and some beef, with tortilla burritos, like a little simple meal that you can implement that's gonna protect you from all these additives and all this other stuff that could potentially in the long term impact your health. Watch what you eat, incorporate different aspects of your sleep. More importantly, man, that's a big part of your health as well, that many people while we're young we neglect, and it's horrible, man. Like, you can easily develop insomnia, and that could critically impact your cognitive function, impact your memory, increase your chances of Alzheimer's and dementia. You're not activating what we call the glymphatic system, which is a really cool, that's why I tell a lot of people, watch your influences, gain more education. I watch Andrew Huberman, and it's a really nice podcast where he goes ahead and speaks about different topics, right? And I learned about the lymphatic system, which is responsible for draining toxins from our body, right? But while we sleep, when we sleep is the only time that this system is most active, is our glymphatic system, and it's in charge of taking toxins and cleaning up our brain. So I learned about that, and since then, sleep has become a much higher priority for me. I know for many, our schedules might be a little bit misaligned, but whatever your schedule may be in the time being, consider your sleep, because it's going to help in your mood regulation. Feeling better, feeling more rested is always going to help you with a brighter, more optimistic, like I said, in the mindset, rather than waking up sluggish, grumpy, hating the world a little bit. So try your best to get your rest, and different aspects of health, incorporate them to create longevity. I know 17 to 25, man, are going to be the hardest years of our lives, especially while you're young, developing on your own without a lot of guidance, without a lot of help. It's extremely challenging, but it's one that you have to be responsible for, because no one's going to come and do it for you, man. And that's what sucks about all of this, right? And it takes responsibility to grow up independently, to evolve and protect yourself, take care of yourself. So I know it may be challenging. We all have different situations, but just do your best, man, and give yourself whatever sign of light, whatever hope you can to continue progressing and just getting better. And those are the 4 pillars that I honestly think will absolutely help change anyone's life if you can manage to focus them. Protect your mindset. Watch motivational, inspirational content. Go look at big houses every now and then. Go to an exotic car dealership. Look at these cars. Look at, successful entrepreneurial stories. Change the content that you're consuming to put your mind in that creative mindset and environment to think about something you can create for yourself. And then you have your own cool story. Secondly, your relationships. Pick your friends wisely. Pick your relationships, your partners wisely. The friends you surround yourself with are where you're putting your time, and the reason you're friends with them is because they think how you think. So be careful with that. You want people that can challenge your way of thinking, to better you, to push you to become more knowledgeable, more business savvy, more educated, and just a better individual in a whole. Third is for sure going to be your business. Your business, you want it to be, hey, something you're thinking about because you want to take control over your own income. Whether it may not be business, just a side gig where you have more control, and the return of outcome is correlated to the input that you put in. So you're not being rewarded for how much time you put in, you're being rewarded for how much work you get done. That's the 2 type of people that you're going to want to see in this life. The people that take the security, but then the people that don't take the security and make more. And those are the two types of people that are out here, you know? The people that, hey, play it safe, get paid what they offer, and then the people that get paid what they're worth, that put in the work to make more. And you want to evolve to this person. You want to evolve to that person that's willing to put in more work to get more output. Willing to put more input to get more output. That habit, that behavior right there is going to compound all across your lifetime and anything that you do. Your relationships, your business, your health. Putting in more input to get more output rewires your reward system, and I'm telling you, man, it builds responsibility, it builds accountability. Some traits that without them as a man, as an individual that's seeking to be independently and financially free, you won't survive without them. So I hope this video finds all of you guys well. I hope it was a very helpful piece of advice that I can share with you guys, you know, to hopefully help incorporate, because I know growing up with a lack of guidance without anyone there to tell you how difficult life can truly be, it's shit, man. It's important you start surrounding yourself with these influences and choosing to rewire your mind differently to get further in life. And I did this all by myself, so me sharing this advice with you, I only hope it helps. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Jerry Trades with SoCal Trading Group, over and out.